I'd like to welcome everybody this morning to the September 18th, 2013 Entrepreneurs Breakfast Forum, brought to you by iCAN-Global. And we're very pleased to be here this morning. And why this is not working, I messed around with the computer, so everything is going to be manual for those speaking. The down arrow. Remember the down arrow. My name is Les Newman, and I am proud to be the CEO of iCAN-Global. And I'd like to welcome both our live studio audience. Nice to see you all here bright and early. And I'd like to also welcome our online audience this morning. The Entrepreneurs Breakfast Forums have been an ongoing forum since 2005. It's been one of the best kept secrets here in the Hudson Valley, but it's getting more notoriety as we move into different locations like this beautiful Gateway Center here at Westchester Community College. The forums are about business, education, and technology. And I think you'll all learn a lot this morning as we have a wonderful panel, group of speakers this morning who are going to inform and educate, and hopefully you will not be shy and ask lots of questions. Just a bit of housekeeping. There's a microphone set up in the aisle over here to your left. When the panelists are done speaking, if you have a question, and we hope you do, please step up to the microphone so we can get your question recorded. This webcast is being broadcast today to over 16 countries around the world. iCAN-Global has representation in those 16 countries. And I'd like to welcome and thank our network of business development executives who gather audiences, bring them together to watch these broadcasts, and have networking groups of their own in each of the countries that we're broadcasting to this morning. I'd also like to introduce a couple of our board members who are here this morning. Mr. Rick Deal, if you could raise your hand and stand up, say hi. Good morning. John Lonzak is here this morning. John, say hi. Regrets this morning from our chairman, Arthur Anthonison, who could not be with us this morning. He's a little bit under the weather, but so be it. We are here. For those of you who aren't familiar where we are, we're about 30 minutes north of Manhattan, and it's a beautiful sunny day, much too sunny for some of the people crossing the bridge to get from New Jersey to New York. And I would like to bring up our hostess this morning from Westchester Community College, Erendina Camacho, to say a few words and welcome everybody this morning.
Thank you, everyone, and welcome to Westchester Community College. My name is Erendina Camacho, and I'm the director of Gateway to Entrepreneurship. This program is a new initiative of the college. Not so new anymore, it's about 3 years program. And the focus of the program is to assist entrepreneurs from the concept stage all the way to the growth stage. So we offer everything from workshops for those that are just looking to start a business, to coaching, and to other programs for those who are looking to expand businesses. And for those of you that are here, we do have some materials outside in regards to some of the programs that we're offering. So I welcome you to take advantage of those. And I want to welcome Les and Sarah and iCAN. It's a pleasure to partner with you. This is, I think that there's a lot of synergies, and it's a great partnership, and it's a really great way of getting the word out about G2E as well. I think we're now beginning also to get the name known in the community. So thank you, and thank you for coming, and enjoy today's program.
I hope you all got to have some of the breakfast provided by the college this morning. It was great, and thank you very much for having us, and it's just a pleasure to be here. Good. Our corporate sponsor this morning, if you stand up, nobody's gonna be able to see. I'm sorry, I'm only kidding, I'm conning, I'm kidding. Stand up, get over here. Ralph Horn from Computer Blue. iCAN has been associated with Computer Blue for several years, as they are our trusted expert in IT and cloud computing. So I'd like to introduce the CEO of Computer Blue, Ralph Horn, to give you an overview of Computer Blue. Hopefully just press the down button,
Okay.
and if you can't find that, you know where the arrow
I know
is.
the arrows, right? Good morning, everyone. My name is Ralph Horn. I'm with Computer Blue Technologies, and today we're going to talk briefly about, not about us, but more about what is cloud computing. And I guess it's not working. So, cloud computing. Back in the day, we're going to talk about what is cloud computing, the layers of the cloud, deployment models of the cloud, very quickly since I have 5 minutes. And so what is your definition of the cloud and why cloud computing for a small business? Back in 2000, this is what your definition of the cloud was, right? As everybody remembers it. Now in 2010, consumers have Dropbox, SkyDrives, Google Drives, things that allow consumer storage-based services that allow you to hook all your computers, tablets, and smartphones together and synchronize your documents. But what is it for the business? It's so much more. So in this model, this is what the cloud is today for a business. You have your phones, your laptops, your servers, your desktops, and your tablets that you own, right? There's several different models and layers of the cloud. And for the business and for you to understand what it is, it's a little bit different than just my Dropbox, my SkyDrive. You know, where's my data? Is it secure? You know, how can I hook things together that will allow me to run my business? I hope this works. So we're going to talk briefly about what are cloud layers. Again, with that slide. The cloud comes in several different layers. You have software as a service, you have a platform as a service, and then you have an infrastructure as a service. So you as the client are trying to get data from a server somewhere in the cloud, and you use one of these platforms to get to it. So again, here's your equipment on the outside, there's the services on the inside that you're trying to get to. The different softwares as a service as you know them today, the Skypes, the GoToMeetings, the platform services such as the Salesforce, the Microsoft Office 365, the Google Apps, the infrastructure services such as Dropbox, LogMeIn. There are also several different models of deployment for the cloud. For business, you kind of need to know this because some businesses don't want their stuff public. They don't want it at a data center that could be overseas. They don't want it, they want to know where the data is. I was just talking to a gentleman earlier today who says, I want to know where my data is. So there are different types of clouds. You have your hybrid clouds where you can have both private and public. You have your private cloud, which we can host on-premise. And then you have your totally public or community clouds, which seems to be a very popular thing today and services that are offered. So now if you take a look at the cloud, there's your equipment on the outside. You have your different types for your business. You have your application type clouds. You have your platform type clouds. You have your infrastructure type clouds. Understanding how those interact with your business is a very important thing. So briefly, we're going to talk, and I'm going to roll this up. So for small businesses, clouds hits a particular sweet spot. With cloud services for small businesses reap the benefits of not having to deploy physical infrastructure like file and email servers, storage systems, or shrink-wrap software. Plus, the anywhere, anytime availability of these solutions means hassle-free collaboration between business partners and employees by simply using a browser. In fact, it's not a stretch to say that aside from a locally installed desktop operating system and a browser, a lot of today's small business technologies can be fulfilled almost completely with cloud-based offerings. So cloud computing fees for businesses are typically typically subscription-based, the vendors usually charge you a month-to-month or on an annual basis. Some of the services are relatively affordable and follow the subscription model. Another feature of the cloud is that the computing is easily scalable. Many of these solutions can work for a business with 5 employees or 5,000 employees. Cloud-based services are nimble because it grows as your business grows. So by definition, the cloud is the delivery of computing as a service rather than a product, whereby shared resources, software, and information are provided to computers and other devices as a utility, like the electricity grid over a network, typically the internet. Now, although cloud computing is not without concerns about security, stability, and data ownership, at its best, it allows businesses and people to unshackle day-to-day operations from their local data center or office. Cloud computing is helping to shape today's truly mobile workforce. So what is your definition of the cloud? Everyone will have a different definition of the cloud because it's based on your needs. Vendors large and small have recognized there's a need for specialized services geared towards individuals as well as small or large companies for specific offerings, and have focused their efforts to offer those at a truly affordable monthly price. As Les likes to tell me quite often, the cloud has become a commodity. Now Les is not going to look at me because he said that. So my reply to Les is, yes, it is a commodity, but all clouds aren't created equal. Small business owners need to focus on their business, and they don't always have the time to focus on IT, even though it's critical to their business. Small businesses need IT partners who can help them navigate the cloud. Actually, I skipped that screen because I spoke about it, but so if you need help navigating the cloud, that's our information, and that's my time.
So why are you here, cloud business?
Why is my class?
Oh, you're not done yet.
Oh no, I'm running.
You're not running anywhere yet. Ralph is not one of these guys you can hide under your desk real easily. Now, Computer Blue is here representing themselves this morning. They're working very hard in the tri-state area and delivering cloud services to small, medium-sized businesses. Is that right?
Yes.
I wish you would have said that, but that's fine. There's always lots of questions and lots of issues regarding the cloud. And I just want to emphasize, these guys know what they're doing. They've been in this for a very long time. If you have questions, we'd love to hear them. If you have an overriding question about what is the cloud and how do I get involved, what are the security issues, which has always been one of my big issues, these are the guys to see. So, Ralph, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
I don't know why you couldn't use the clicker. It works just fine. For those of you who are not familiar with iCAN-Global, I'd just like to take a few minutes, yeah, this is my plug, to provide some information on who we are, what we do, what's our mission, and how we work with startups, emerging growth companies, and mature companies alike engaged in clean tech, renewable energy, information technology, and business processes. See that? Look at that. It's important to note, each member of the iCAN-Global management team has extensive experience in technology incubation, acceleration, commercialization. We've been on both sides of the funding process as investors and recipients. We've run public and private companies, both domestically and internationally, and have achieved success and disappointment during our business careers. iCAN-Global is committed to 3 primary target areas. Number 1, providing access to the iCAN Accelerate team of executives, professionals, technologists, consultants, academics, and service providers through the launched iCANGlobal.com website. And our members are here to assist with services ranging from business plan reviews, through investor presentations, through technology validation, engineering, and yes, access to funding. The second point is to provide a platform for iCAN-Global clients to commercialize their products and services through our global network of business development executives. The network of BDEs currently encompasses 16 countries. Our BDEs have their finger on the pulse of economic development, technology development and needs, opportunities for licensing, partnering, sales, distribution, and collaboration within their respective countries. And the third is to level the playing field, if you will, by providing internet access to our global network of mentors, advisors, technologists, professionals, and service providers all through the internet. As I mentioned, the iCAN senior management team has a legacy in technology incubation and acceleration. To be more specific, iCAN New York was one of the early adopters of employing a virtual incubation strategy. Recently, I was discussing virtual incubation with a young man from Eastern Europe. I'll leave his name out. He told me, which was great to hear, that I am known as the father of virtual incubation. I wasn't sure whether it was to be offended as being the father of virtual incubation until he said, look, I could have labeled you as the grandfather of virtual incubation. So why is the concept of virtual incubation acceleration important? The incubation industry is largely comprised of not-for-profit organizations supported by academic institutions, economic development agencies, or governments. The harsh realities of the lingering financial crisis suggest that many incubators have either lost funding or had their budgets reduced. This obviously has had a dramatic impact on those startups and early-stage enterprises that rely on subsidies and grants for their very existence. I consider the internet the most disruptive technology ever introduced. The impact of the web has impacted literally every industry, including incubation. We, not unlike every one of you, realize that by using the internet as our infrastructure, we could drastically lower operating costs, expand our geographic coverage, but most importantly, expand the service and access to business and industry experts, no matter where they happen to be located. And as such, we've been able to recruit the best and the brightest from all over the world and really change the paradigm of technology incubation and acceleration. We then extended the concept and began actively recruiting mentors, advisors, coaches, and experts from all over the world. We performed due diligence on each applicant and prepare them to work with iCAN clients using every form of communication available. I've not seen one entrepreneur who does not carry a smartphone. It's been estimated that there are as many as 400 million entrepreneurs worldwide. It's also been estimated that over 84% are online at least once per day. So it becomes clear as to how business is being transacted in 2013 and will be going forward. Governments have made huge investments in new digital infrastructure, and iCAN leverages that surge in infrastructure development to reach entrepreneurs, early, emerging stage, and mature companies. And we're leveling the playing field regardless of location when it comes to accessing the best and the brightest. Today's presentation is about social media. We have assembled, well, I should say Sarah has assembled, a very distinguished panel which will be moderated by our social media maven, Sarah Bird. The evolution of social media and digital marketing is proving to be an essential component of a company's overall marketing strategy. However, before a company gets to the stage of its development where marketing is an issue, they need to develop their products, services, management teams, funding requirements, intellectual properties, core business models, and strategies. For those of you ready to start a business or are considering revenue or market expansion, the iCAN-Global team is ready to assist you in fulfilling your goals. The competition for funding on a global scale is fierce. You need a team that's been there and done that by your side and guiding your every move. The iCAN-Global Accelerate team is ready, able, and skilled. You can contact us through the newly introduced iCAN-Global.com website and discuss how we can work together. And now for my words of wisdom this morning. Well, let's see. Where are my words of wisdom this morning? There they are. Thank you. And now to this morning's program. Just as I've outlined for you, our company has gotten fully engaged in the social medias and the integration of digital communications as the cornerstone of our marketing strategy. Over a year ago, we brought in an intern who had just graduated college as a sociology major, and she was looking for a career, not just a job. Well, our intern has blossomed into an enthusiastic, professional, and creative member of our management team. The one disturbing piece of social media is anonymity. Well, today you all get the privilege of meeting, seeing, and hearing the person behind all the emails, the blog posts, the e-invitations, and as the curator of the iCAN-Global.com resource library. I'm very proud to introduce the moderator for this morning's panel discussion, our own Sarah Bird. See, now I'm done. Bottom arrow.
Good morning, everybody. It's good to be here and see everyone. As Les said, I'm usually behind the scenes, so it's nice to be in front of the camera and to say hello to everyone. As you all know, we're here for the digital marketing panel, so I'm just going to dive right in and introduce our first panelist, Ethan Chazin. Ethan is a business coach, marketing expert, published author, and radio program host. After 20 years in corporate America and various marketing, sales, and product management roles at established firms such as Reuters, Dun & Bradstreet, and Time Warner Cable, Ethan launched the CHAZIN'S Group in 2009. He is passionate about teaching entrepreneurs to plan, launch, and grow inspired businesses to transform the American economy. In his presentation, he's going to discuss the importance of building a compelling voice online. Many people don't know how to stand out online, so that's what Ethan's going to discuss. So come on up. We'll see.
Woohoo!
It works.
And it works.
Now you know why we brought Ethan on first.
Yeah, technologist to the stars. Well, thank you, Sarah and Les, for inviting me in this morning. And thank you, everybody, for having me. Good morning.
Good morning.
Oh, that's a greeting. I could work with that. The caffeine clicked in. Welcome, everybody online. I think I have 20 minutes to talk, so we're good till 10 o'clock. Everybody's cell phones are on mute or off. I have everybody's attention. Rock and roll. Get going, Ethan. Hurry up. Why? Because I said so. The first question that comes up, whether I'm teaching in colleges and universities or talking to groups of entrepreneurs, is why do I need a strategy for going online? The better question served is what happens if you don't have one? Which means your brand will develop organically without any strategic approach. You may wake up one morning, this may happen to you, and become the father, nay grandfather of virtual incubation. All over the world, you're known for that. How did it happen? It happens. So the first question that I pose to every entrepreneur and startup I coach is, what is your strategy for going online? And 99 times out of 100, I get the look that my dog gave me every time I talk to her, which is kind of like this. You don't have one. Well, guess what? You need one. Because you have two worlds as a business owner. Online, offline. Online, offline. Online, offline. And to the extent that they are strategically synergistic, you'll get maximum benefit of this globally ubiquitous technology called the internet. We good? We still good? Everybody's with me? Want to make sure the sugar rush from the Whoa. Who are you? No, it's not an esoteric question. Who are you? When you go out to a networking event, it's easy. Hi, my name is. Or you're talking to a client or prospect over the phone. Hi, I'm Ethan. I do the following. But who are you really? There's a notion of be yourself when you're online, in the same way you've all communicated with Sarah many times. Who are you online is equally important as who you are offline. You have to be who you are. And what I mean by that is when you're building out and developing a social media strategy, your website, your blog, your e-communications, it's the tonality of what you stand for as a business owner. As an entrepreneur, it's pretty easy to remember because you just wrote your business plan. What's your vision and your mission statement? Don't write it down and forget it. Live it. Live it, because when people meet you online and then they meet you offline, their immediate response is instantaneous in terms of gauging if who they perceived you to be online, the father of global virtual incubation, is who you are when they meet you. So I'm going to throw this out as a rhetorical. Have every one of you who run a business, have you vetted your online brand relative to who you are in person? Because you want to be authentic. And that's more of a takeaway from this morning's event. And as subsequent speakers talk to you this morning about technology and embracing the cloud, using the internet, using social media, using online marketing, it gets back to, please do not get bogged down in the technology. You use Hootsuite today, Social Mention, TweetDeck tomorrow. The technology constantly changes. Screw the technology. Get back to the concept of why you're going online in the first place. You want to build a compelling brand globally to be known for what you stand for. And that's the power of the internet and social media, quite frankly. This is it. Who you are. Look, I'm a business coach. If you turn in any direction in New York City, where I'm based out of, and spit, you'll hit 5 coaches. What's your unique selling proposition? We laugh, but what's your competitive advantage in the marketplace? Be who you are. I had a t-shirt made for my daughter. She's applying to high schools. Woohoo! Be who you are. Everyone else is taken. Don't try to emulate the people who lead your industry. Don't try to emulate, I'm sorry, hate to break it to you, there's only one Tony Hsieh at Zappos. There's only one Sir Richard Branson. That's either good or bad. It is. Be who you are. In terms of developing a brand, that's the most critical thing you can think of for getting your brand extended online. Have fun. Have you ever gone into a LinkedIn group and read a discussion and people are about as serious as watching paint dry? Don't use the excuse that you run a bookkeeping or an IT consulting service. We have to be serious. I get it, you're an actuary, you have to be serious. Not all the time. People want to engage with human beings. Newsflash, what's the definition of social media? It's building and maintaining and cultivating relationships online that you further extend offline. Are you guys having fun with social media? How can I have fun? It takes up 30 hours a day. Well, that's a time management issue aside, but have fun with it. The beauty of marketing in the era of the internet, ever since the mid-90s, marketing used to be paralysis of analysis, researching campaigns, researching return on your investment. We're in the ADD society. Today's marketing paradigm is ready, fire, aim. So to that extent, you have to ask yourself, how am I having fun with this and engaging? The bottom line is you're not if you're not engaging. One of the worst things, and maybe other speakers will tell you this morning, is to go on and post a status update or send out a tweet and walk away. That's called broadcast advertising. That's television and radio. We're in the 21st century. It's all about engagement and speaking to people. How engaging are you? What's your clout score? What is your online reputational brand? How are you having conversations with your ideal customers, your largest customers, your suppliers, vendors, key members of the media? By the way, if you can't answer me strategically what your strategy is, you don't have an online strategy. So have fun. In the end, we're all worm food. It's the journey. So engage people, please. Realize that even though you're talking through your tablet or your PC or your laptop, you're having conversations online. That's what this is all about today. Okay. The reality is social media is online relationships. It's not separate from or divorced from your offline or in-person relationships. It's an extension from a technology standpoint of furthering the relationships you've already garnered. You're following people who you know or trust or want to do business with or do business with. You're tweeting or retweeting or following or liking. To the extent that you can, it's having less conversations online in more meaningful way to supplement the stuff that you're doing when you're off of the computer. So this is the kind of stuff that you do. There's an opportunity in LinkedIn, for example, to join, I don't know, what's the number, 50 groups, 52 groups? I'm not saying join all 50, because then you'd get emails 300, 400, 500 a day. But how many of the groups do you belong to? The top 2, 3, 4 LinkedIn groups of your peers, your professionals, the groups of your clients. How often are you going online to have those conversations? And what's the nature of those conversations? This is called the communications plan. Really, this is a subset of your marketing plan, and it's revisited constantly by you or the person in your organization, your partner, or whoever in your firm is responsible for having these conversations. My point to you today is, who's monitoring the strategic approach you have, if at all? Because if you don't have the strategy for engaging people, it's reactive. And in the global, ubiquitous, 21st century, technology-driven business and industry we all thrive in, whole industries have imploded because of a failure to do this. Name the industry. I don't care. Printing, publishing, advertising, retail, manufacturing. All these industries and all these global organizations, Bear Stearns, Lehman Brothers, Borders, Circuit City, they're failing. They're failing because their organization, regardless of scale of size, don't engage people to the extent that the technology allows you to. Embrace the technology. Who blogs in this room? I can't see the hands. Can they go up? How many of you run your own business? It's a 1 in 3. I'm not a math major. That's why I changed from being a business major in college to communications. I hated the numbers part, but that's a 1 in 3. The answer is any person who runs a business or represents as the forward face of your business or organization, rather, whether you're a nonprofit or an agency, you should be blogging. Why? Why not? No. Because you don't have enough to do in the day. No. Oh, are you kidding, Ethan? This is 30 hours a day. No, quite honestly, blogging builds subject matter expertise, and I know this for a fact because periodically I'll send out to my universe of people questions to the extent of, I don't know that anybody's listening to me when I'm blogging. Should I stop? And all of a sudden, I get this deluge of hundreds of responses. Don't stop. We read what you do every week. We print it out. We hand it out to all of our employees. Well, why aren't you communicating back with me? That's another challenge for a later date. How do you truly get people to re-engage with you? But blogging is free, other than the time investment. It's a free way to get your name out there. How do you become known as the global grandfather of virtual incubation? How do you get known as the face of iCAN-Global? It's blogging. It's having a recurring series of conversations out there with your universe of people. It doesn't have to be every universe. It's your industries. It's the places that you compete in. It's the places you hang out. It's the same people who get your emails and go to your website and chat with you in LinkedIn groups and chat with you in online user forums. They're the ones who are getting a timely weekly article of between 600 to 800 words per subject matter topic that promotes you as an entrepreneur. I started in 2009 my own business, the CHAZIN'S Group. Before that, I spent 20 years in senior marketing roles getting crapped on by corporations before I decided I want to go out and extend my own brand. How do you create an online brand? Blogging is a phenomenally powerful way. And you may be thinking, I don't have the time, I don't have the message, I don't have the skills. Bull, bull, bull. With the technology, go to Google Blogger, go to WordPress. I don't care about the platform. What works today, by the time you get it, it'll be obsolete. I heard that somewhere. Don't focus on the technology. Focus on the ability that you can communicate on a regular basis with an audience of 10 people or 10 million. That's the beauty of the 21st century internet era. Can we do questions at the end, please? And please remember the question because I want to talk about it. It doesn't matter where it exists, although ideally on your website, it should be front and center, integrated within your website so that whether your platform is WordPress or whatever else, you can monitor the traffic, and all the SEM, SEO experts who will tell you later on today or in your discussions afterwards in networking, it doesn't matter what the platform is. What matters is you see where they're coming from to come check you out, how long they're staying with you, how often they come back. I mean, there's other permutations of that. And also, how they comment back and forth with you as you talk about things that are of interest to and you share your passion with them. They will engage you. Blogging is an exceptional way when you're starting out to level the playing field with larger, more established organizations. Look, this is all about branding. You know, I teach in 50 colleges and universities. I've given over 3,000 talks. I've worked with 750 clients. I can give you a clinical, exceptional definition of branding. Forget about it. I'm from Jersey. I have to say it like that. Branding is one thing only. And to the extent that you're 20 or 60, it doesn't matter. If you embrace this notion of, I know Seth Godin, Uber marketer, has said we're not brands, we're individuals. No, we are to a certain extent a brand, and you manifest that online by doing something. It's establishing your brand online and offline. Oh, that's pretty cool. I like that. Hey, follically challenged. I go for what I know. I got a million of them. I'm here all day. Tip your waiters. It's a promise that anybody engages with you. Anybody who's ever communicated with Sarah in person or even less in person, the first time I met him, I said, yeah, they're reinforcing their brand, which is how I experienced them through email and over the phone conversations. It's the same brand. So if you think about a clinical definition of a brand, I don't have one, I'm not that savvy, but it's a promise that you're going to be three things at all times through your social media, your website, your blogging. You're unique, you're invaluable, and you're memorable. Because if you're not, you're Payless or thrifty. You're the dollar store. You're, what do we call the cloud? It's an obnoxious term, a commodity. That's a bad word, by the way. He left, or I would have given him grief for that. We're a commodity unless we make a promise through our brand. And the importance of branding online through your social media and building an online brand is that it fits in with your overall strategy of don't talk about what you do as much as share what other people you know do. That's what branding online is. I don't have $1 million definition. I have a $1.99 definition, but it works for every organization. Post-startup, startup, entrepreneur, established firm, the extent to which you take the onus of viewership, when you take the spotlight off yourself and promote your clients, promote your prospects, promote your vendors and partners, it's all about building a relationship. Oh, there you are. It's not a commodity. Like you said, I'm all over it. We're triangulating, baby. You're not effectively utilizing and extending your online brand, unless you bring into the fold, into your farmhouse, all of the relationships that you have. It's retweeting, it's reposting, it's liking. That's the whole point of social media. I keep going to Clout as the example, but any online brand management tool will give you a numeric score based on the extent, and everybody who uses Clout knows this is the model. You get a score of 1, which is you're almost a social 0, to 100, which means you're close to being YouTube or Google. Somewhere in between is you in terms of your online presence. And a lot of your brand and how far you extend it online is predicated on one simple strategy: promoting others who have relationships with you. And ultimately, if you're known, and by the way, this is why it's great to be a meetup group host, just as an anecdotal thought about networking, is the extent to which you bring relationships together has a direct monetary positive impact on the sustainability of your business. Those who don't embrace this notion of branding and promoting others, they fail, because their whole business model is skewed towards, this is what I do. Nobody cares what you do. Sorry, this is the age-old marketing dilemma. People only care about how they can help, how you can help. Amen, Sister Soldier. So first of all, And why am I saying this today? Because 9 out of 10 entrepreneurs do this incorrectly. They're engaged on social media, but somehow they let discussions of political discourse, sexual orientation, the state of education in this country, we all know what the problems are. Unless you're a social advocate, unless you do volunteer work, unless you run a not-for-profit, there are certain issues that you shouldn't address. So be nice, play nicely in the sandbox. I can't tell you how important it is when people who challenge you and your opinions, they're attacking your brand. Once you go online and you do a Google or Bing or Yahoo search on your first name, last name in brackets, guarantee you you're out there. You now have a responsibility to yourself to manage that brand. So the question becomes, what are people talking about when it comes to your business? You can go to a company rant site like Glassdoor. Excuse me. These other employee rant sites and these other company rating sites. The point is, engage people in civil discourse, and when somebody else is not reciprocating, you immediately want to respond. I can't tell you how many times I've had conversations that suggest that people go offline when we're in a LinkedIn group and there are over 10,000 members. Once your brand is out there, it needs to be managed. There are so many different tools that are available. The biggest advice I can give for my client, respective of the technology, is to say there are constantly new platforms. If, for example, you're a sales professional, or a lot of what you do is technical. I spoke to somebody who's an LED, serial entrepreneur, starting a technical firm. If what you do is heavily reliant upon presentations, you want to use a platform like SlideShare and promote it through your other social media, ideally Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, Pinterest. Okay, so in terms of this, video is king. Other than Google, many of you probably know this, the most popular search engine is YouTube. It's ubiquitous. You need to have a YouTube channel, and you need to have video embedded in your not-for-profit, your government agency, your for-profit business. It's critical. You can literally have a section of your website dedicated to videos of your people. Doesn't matter. In your marketing plan, you know the top 2 to 3 industries you ideally serve. I spoke to a firm that provides senior level executives before the presentation. They were saying they're industry agnostic, they serve everyone. I would argue to a certain extent, while you may serve everyone in your product and service suite of offering, you need to drill down into granular detail who are the top 2, 3, 4 industries and go online. If they're engineers and architects, they're at thomasnet.com in the online user forums talking about CAD/CAM drawings, or chemical engineering or nuclear engineering. The point is, I don't know your business yet, all of you one-on-one, but if you have a specific industry you're targeting or several, you need to be conversing with them beyond Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. So what are you supplementing for your conversations? Monitoring your brand. I don't care what the tools are, you should have a strategy in place on a weekly basis. You should have your URL for your website in Google Analytics. Every page of your website has the code that Google provides you embedded on your site. You should be running Google Analytics. If you have a platform like WordPress, you have a dashboard, administrative area. You need to know how engaged you are with the right people. There are tools that are all over there. They're Visify, About.me. It doesn't matter what the tool is. Keep testing. The way you test is ready, fire, aim. Get your social media out there, get your branding online, have engagements, and where people are responding, whether it's Pinterest, Instagram, whatever the vehicle, keep that up. Wherever it's like the sound of crickets, you put your relationship online through a social media tool and you're getting no feedback, either you haven't promoted that, or that's a dead-end communication channel. Cease and desist, move on. But test, try, constantly test your online branding. Every month, I want to see, if I were coaching you, twice a month, the 1st of the month, 30th of the month, or whatever the end of the month is, Google, Yahoo, Bing. Search on your business name. It's amazing how you can use that as a down and dirty tactic to manage your brand. Google Plus, Yahoo, Twitter. It doesn't matter what tool you're using. I'm sorry, this is too large, but it's my Google Plus account. It doesn't matter what tools you are doing, as long as you vetted that while you're testing them, that's where you're having the strongest relationships and you're having the ability to engage people. If you get it out there, it doesn't work, modify, test, try, offer sweepstakes raffles, pose questions, do a survey. But if something's not working, move on to the next strategy. The point is, you need a strategy. Your internet online branding sits within your overall marketing plan. I would challenge each of you, when I look at your business plan, to check out your marketing section. If you haven't allocated resource to this, and most of the times people haven't, the only other way to expect this to happen is organically and reactive. And we all know what happens to those kind of firms that are run that way. There may be things that you want to do, like starting a meetup group. In my little town, in my hamlet of Hoboken, New Jersey, right across the river from New York City, for 15 years I kept crying out that there was nobody to facilitate business networking initiatives. Well, you know what? I kept looking to my left to say who's doing it. Nobody. Look to my right. Nobody. So I figured I would start a meetup group. I did in May. Out of nowhere, it's 165 members who are only business owners. And I can facilitate the introduction. You may want to think about that as a possible strategy for building your own social and professional network. So in summary then, as I wrap up this morning and turn over the microphone for question and answer, is you need to have a formal strategy in place. It's absolutely critical. Most people don't. You've got to have it. There's no paralysis of analysis. Try it. If it doesn't work, move on to the next one. Engage others. That's the whole point of social media, right? Is having these kinds of conversations and relationships. And let me emphasize the word conversation. I have clients who say, oh, Ethan, you said 15 to 30 minutes a day on social media. They go online, they post their 5 Facebook status updates, they walk away from that, they go to Hootsuite, they post it once and all that, and they walk away. That's called email. That's not how you want to engage. And the last part of it for the rest of today, and as you figure out this thing called social media, applicable to your business, have fun. Give it a shot. See what works, what doesn't. At the end, it's all about relationships. So thank you. I don't know how you want to deal with questions.
Anyone who has questions, just line up behind the mic.
Should I stand here? Ma'am, you had a question?
Actually, I'd like to find out your opinion about Facebook, using Facebook instead of blog.
I don't consider it an either-or proposition. I think they supplement each other. My takeaway on Facebook versus LinkedIn, because I get this all the time, LinkedIn is for business, 300 million serious business people. Facebook is personal for 1 billion people just having relationships. No. You should be on both ideally, but at the end of the day, it's not a question of what I think where you should be. Your top customers, everybody knows the Pareto principle. 20% of your customers generate 80% of your revenue. Where are those 20%? And hang out with them. So if it's LinkedIn versus Facebook, fine. I'm all for having a blog in addition to your other marketing activities. Yes, sir.
First, I'd like to address the father of virtual incubation.
That's you. That's your brand.
Thank you very much. Embarrassing for a second, but have all of us in person and virtually wish him a very happy birthday.
Mazel tov.
35. Ethan, great presentation. You touched on this on your last comments, but talk a little bit about the difference in terms of a business that's a business-to-consumer business versus a business-to-business business, and the difference in how you look at social media strategy for those two different types of organizations.
Thank you, and happy birthday.
Thank you.
I did not know I would have come bearing gifts.
You should have.
Well, you didn't promote it. I mean, we can go back and forth at your Abbott. There's this whole disconnect in the marketing world, and there always has been in the 30 years I've been doing it, in how you market even separate of social media as a general rule. B2B, B2C. Well, it's a different animal, it's a different target segment. I'm of the camp, just to let you know, I'm in full disclosure, I don't think there is any single difference because you're still talking to human beings. But having said that, we know that the B2B model is based on, there's a little bit more structure in terms of the stakeholders. There are people who are the purchasers who may be influenced at one level, but the decision makers are the ones who say yay or nay, and then the people who you talk to are the end users. So on the B2B front, I would say the challenge in terms of social media is identifying perhaps not the industry that you target, but the nature of who you're engaging in the selling process, in terms of they may use different social media. They may be on online user forums, depending on what their role is in the chain of command in the organization. But I think the only way to know for sure whether it's B2B or B2C is to know where your customers are online. I can't get around that point. So whether it's a B2B or B2C model that you're marketing to, where are those individuals? The reality is if I sit down with you and we do a social media audit and we look at your brand, I would say, sir, how is your brand extending in a B2B model to all the stakeholders? Show me. Literally, it's very linear. Or B2C, the marketer perception is, oh, that's easier, because you're just talking to a broad base of all consumers. Look, if anybody has ever sold a toy to a child, you know there's the purchaser, the influencer, the decision maker. That's a B2B model, but it's called B2C. And that's why, quite honestly, Toys R Us failed so miserably.
Good. You know, we brought you on first for a reason. There's not too much energy here. Is there one more
Oh,
question? We have one
I'm
more
sorry.
question.
I was just going to sing happy birthday.
No, you're not either.
Hi.
Hello.
How are you?
Good, thank you.
Great presentation. My name is Nikkei Piper. I run a small social media boutique firm in the city. I know that you explained that we shouldn't really focus on the technology, right? Because it's ever changing.
Mm-hmm.
But what is your opinion on said technology, being that most clients that, you know, come to you for social media marketing needs it in order to develop a marketing strategy? And so,
Okay.
you know, the level of importance on that technology, I think is, you know, I think it's probably 90% of what a social media strategy is. So I just wanted to hear your opinion on that.
Thank you. That's a great question. So we don't have to, as business owners, entrepreneurs, worry about the technology because that's why we pay you. That's a complete cop-out. I get it. The technology is predicated on what are the tools that you need to reach your audience. So, for example, if you want to get your business, you want feedback on Yelp, then obviously Yelp is a directory listing service. But if you run a B2B service, but you want to get your business to get testimonials from people, you wouldn't go to a Yelp, you go to somebody like a Busy Feed. So while I say the technology isn't tantamount because it's going to change, you do have to have a cursory understanding of who's your audience, where are they, and what are the tools to reach them, communicate with them, monitor your brand, run the analytics. So you do have to have a very high level understanding of how those pieces fit in. But I would always say your strategy as a social media firm is to understand the business challenges that the entrepreneurs and startups in this room face, and then you put together on your proposal submission the strategy for what tools you're going to use to achieve the goals. So probably the most important thing everybody should have are defined, measurable metrics around your goals that you've put into your social media part of your marketing plan. And if you can't do it yourself, you would hire absolutely a firm that has been referred to you personally where they can take over the technology considerations to help you achieve your goals. I was very glib in saying you don't need to know the technology. It does change. You should have an overall understanding of how it works.
Keep talking.
Oh, I'm sorry. Does anybody have any funny jokes, vignettes? Does anybody? Yes, branding, online branding, social media, internet marketing. I teach all of them.
I have a question on blogging.
Yes.
How would you suggest, sometimes I have trouble coming up with new content to write about, so how do you suggest coming up with content?
Blogging, the final frontier. Writer's block. You write every week? You write every 2 weeks? How do you come up with content? Well, there are two kinds. It's pre-planned and ad hoc. So the pre-planned is you know your business, or I hope you do. You know the cyclical nature and the seasonality, if any, that's affected by it. So you know January through December, certain historical events, holidays, legislation that's coming up, and you have an editorial calendar in the same way you would do that to solicit press coverage by going out to the New York Times or Cranes. So part of it is pre-planning, and I would expect everybody, you'd hate me if I came in and talked to your marketing person and say, what's your blogging editorial calendar? What do you mean editorial calendar? I'm like, oh boy, here we go. The other is reactive. If you're not talking to people online, you have no idea how to put your finger on the pulse of the trends in your industry. So that's why LinkedIn groups, and that's why chat and user forum is great. Hear what people are talking about. That's where I get over 75% of my content, is talking. Or the other thing is, if anybody in this room has clients, vendors, partners, other stakeholders, then you're talking to those people on a day in, day out basis. You should know what the things are that are topical. So that at a real high level is pre-planning for editorial and also soliciting feedback. Sir, and then sir.
So I just had a question. You mentioned Ready, Fire, Aim twice in your presentation. And in our experience, we run an advisory consulting firm. Decisiveness can be an issue that plagues entrepreneurs. But I think in the social media space, I've actually given the exact opposite advice to entrepreneurs. That unless you really aim and understand what you're doing, you could have potential negative impacts because nothing gets erased in the social media world. That if you end up going with a Ready, Fire, Aim approach, it can actually be detrimental, as when people search on Google and they find this thing that you end up trying when you didn't properly aim, and it could plague them for years.
I agree somewhat. So again, here you have a philosophical divide in terms of strategy. So on the one hand, I agree with you completely that it comes from having a strategy in the first place, and it's written. I guess when I say ready, fire, aim, I mean don't overanalyze the plan you've already developed with the goals, objectives, and the strategies to implement. But when you're in it, you don't pull back. You keep going forward. You test. So my answer to ready, fire, aim, and can get you in trouble. The whole nature of the online world is, ever since the internet was commercially viable in the mid-90s, that's what the technology has been. There are the people who are going out and driving the technology forward and making the platforms and the tools. So that's what I mean. To that extent, Ready, Fire, Aim is embracing the tools. I guess I should have prefaced it by saying I don't mean just knee-jerk reactions to the marketplace. So I apologize if it came out that way. You do need to have a formal plan in place. But be prepared to be proactive to change your plan on the spot as marketplace circumstances dictated. Do we have time for one more question?
No, you're done.
Okay.
He'll be here for a while. Thank you, Ethan, for singing and dancing. You're good.
Okay, we're going to have our next speaker, Dahlia Strum. She's a digital media expert specializing in consumer and business marketing strategy. Her areas of expertise includes digital marketing strategy development and comprehensive online marketing strategies. With previous experience as CEO and founder of Cozy Wallet Inc., she was responsible for identifying and executing category launches, as well as deploying game-changing customer acquisition strategies and developing strategic brand partnerships. She's a teacher at FIT, teaching Intro to Social Media Marketing, Social Commerce, Blogging for Business, and Digital Analytics. She will discuss how social media is not an anonymous activity anymore and how to be authentic using social media. So, Dahlia, come up.
Thank you, Les and Sarah, for having me, and happy birthday, Les. Had no idea. So I have a problem. I am addicted to talking to people. Anybody else on the same page? Raise your hands, don't be shy. To the point where I am starting to wear technology on me to increase the opportunities that I am aware of people reaching out to me. Even while we were talking, I am tweeting this entire experience. Who uses social media? Who uses social media for their personal life? And who uses social media for business? So, by the way, I want you to interrupt me because I am addicted to talking. So please, if you have any questions, please interrupt me. I thought I had a clicker, sorry. All right. What is social media? Does anybody feel comfortable enough to answer that question? Go ahead.
It's an interactive online conversation.
Yes, definitely an interactive online conversation. But it's utility. It allows us to be able to connect to our internal network and people that we already know, especially our current customers, and then people that we never would have been able to reach before. Have we thought about this a little bit towards our businesses? Is it a struggle? Do we feel like it's very tough to figure out what to say on these platforms? Raise your hand if you have a problem with that. Kind of. So that's when the fear sets in, right? What do I talk about? How do I know how much is too much? What do I share? What if my competition is watching me? Biggest question, right? What if my boss is listening? Unless you're an entrepreneur. What if our board of directors is listening? And do people really want to know what I ate for lunch? Sometimes. If you are at a spectacular restaurant, yes. This is about the point where we need to be us. And even said it best. We have our own personalities, and we connect with people because we know who we like, and we also work very well with the people that we know and like, right? So who purchased something recently on an online website? Raise your hand. Before you purchased anything, did you go to any of their social media sites? Raise your hand. Yes. And what happened? What did you see? Totally, and that's the biggest component, right? We want to know that if we're purchasing through an online website, that we're going to have that comfort zone, we're going to be able to trust them, they're not going to take our credit card information and run, and most importantly, if there's an issue with the product, I want to know that there's an easy access point to talk to their customer service, to be able to communicate with them, and make sure that there is a warranty on that product, right? We want to know that there are those easy access points. And that's when we can start evaluating social media. We can utilize it from different perspectives. Has anybody heard of Warby Parker? So they are basically an up-and-coming brand. They make glasses, and they focus in the social good space. They use their Twitter feed to engage with customers that have questions or problems, and if they can't fit their answer in 140 characters, they incorporate video to make sure to increase that communication. They want to know that they're able to provide these resources for their customers so that they have those easy access points to engage with them. So it's really about getting your perspective on what the situation is. If you're running your own company and you're running your own business, you want to make sure that you are providing a lifestyle for your customer because that's what they connect with. It's not only about the product, but it's about the full experience of what the brand is like, how they see things, and if they are going to synergize within that person's lifestyle. Something that we have to pay attention to is there's a difference between authenticity and transparency. Have we heard these keywords before? Yeah? Transparency is really about how much you share, and authenticity is about the truth of your words and your actions. We just want to make sure that we keep those separate. It doesn't necessarily have to collaborate with each other. It's about being authentic, right? We want to make sure that in social media, it's about being yourself, and you're able to really share who you are and what you have to share with your network, your customers, your contacts, and how you can best connect with them. And really about showing your personality and getting to know your community. How can you help them? So I like to bring up a couple of different perspectives. Have we heard of Oscar de la Renta? So Oscar de la Renta actually has somebody managing his social media for him. It's Oscar PR Girl, but we know her as Erica Bierman, and she really is able to create an identity online. She focuses on, do we know the term selfies? Yeah, so a selfie is about taking a picture of yourself and showing it because we want to see her. We want to see how she's dressing. We want to be able to connect with a person. Even in the background picture on her Twitter page, it's her talking to Oscar. It's about the person that we're connecting with and the lifestyle that they're presenting us with. Do we have questions so far? DKNY has the same situation. So DKNY brought in a PR girl, but really known as a Lisa Licht. So she herself, this is all her personality and how she synergizes with that culture of the brand and the lifestyle. This is how we are able to showcase really how the brand fits into your lifestyle, because it's going to be through somebody else's perspective. Danny Joe is probably one of my favorite case studies. Danny Joe launched their brand on Instagram. What a concept, right? They really were able to connect with the right people at the right time, mainly because of the actual products that they were selling. They have gorgeous, gorgeous jewelry, but it wasn't about that. It was, how do you wear it? Where do you wear it? And really, what is the lifestyle that I could see myself wearing this to? They came up with, who's heard of Man Repeller? No? So they're working with Man Repeller to create an arm party. And it's really about creating new concepts and synergizing within the market of how you can bring value. So it's really about understanding the identity that you're trying to portray and the lifestyle that your company synergizes within somebody else's lifestyle. I wanted to show a quick video. Never mind, technical difficulties. Okay, questions? Yes.
When you're talking to entrepreneurs and startups, you talk about Oscar de la Renta, which is a known brand, having as a business somebody being a social media person. Do you ever advise people when it is and is not appropriate to hire somebody to do it for them and their business versus doing it themselves? Is there ever like some guidelines you can give on how they decide if they want to do it themselves or have somebody that they engage to do the social media for them?
So typically I would recommend bringing somebody in-house, right? This is your brand. This is your face to the industry of what you have to offer, what you have to showcase, how you're going to represent yourself. So if you're going to be working with an external agency, they don't necessarily know as much about you to be able to showcase it and highlight it, especially on a day-to-day. What are you doing in the office? What are you listening to? How can you inspire me to want to work with your company? Go ahead.
In terms of, let's say one's personal social media personality, there's sort of, they do for business. If you're, like, let's say, a solopreneur, there seems to be like a rule of thumb. Like three posts about you, maybe 7 about the business. When you're representing a brand as let's say an in-house person, do you recommend that it's really about the brand and then the personality is expressing how you do that versus what she does on her personal life?
So it's a little bit of both, right? Because her personal life is about embracing the brand. Her personal life is the lifestyle of the brand. We see her going to the Hamptons. We see her traveling to Italy. We see her at like major, major events in gorgeous gowns. That is the brand. That's her lifestyle. So essentially, it's being able to live vicariously through the perspective of the brand. What is she eating? These glamorous, gorgeous meals, the champagne that she's drinking, because that is the lifestyle of that brand. Go ahead.
So you're really focusing on a very specific target audience, and that you only have this one spokesperson
Kind of, yeah. I mean,
The other audiences, you need another PR man or another person to do that?
when you have a particular company, you have an idea of who your target is, right? So what's the age demographic of your target audience?
I'm here a native, the native plants that we grew up in college. So most of our people are gardeners who are older.
Okay, but that's great. So we try to profile who our target market is. What is the age demographic? What do they do in their daily lifestyle? And if you can, I typically recommend creating a mind map. So starting off with that age demographic, where can we typically find them? Which areas specifically? And then more importantly, what are their areas of interest? Because more importantly, those are keywords that you'll be able to utilize through social media to connect with them. And then also hitting on that, you have a better idea of how you can connect with them on topics that they want to talk about, right? It's not only about the product, but it's also about being able to connect with them on other aspects of their life, which is why Pinterest has become such a resource. Because if you're searching for, just as a consumer, as a user, if I'm searching for something that synergizes in my lifestyle and I discover a brand because they have similar interests, I'm going to connect to them right off the bat. And I'm going to fall in love with that lifestyle. I saw another question in the back. Yep.
My question is sort of partially answered. The examples you've given are very fashion-oriented or lifestyle-oriented. What might you suggest if we were developing a website and social media for marketing a region or a marketing real estate or marketing some things that aren't as sexy as EKNY or Oscar?
Real estate is definitely sexy. If you were looking to market real estate, I think that it's really about figuring out what components synergize with it, right? So when you think about real estate, it's about gardening. It's about with the internal decorating, right? So those are sexy components of real estate. It's about creating that lifestyle. Commercial real estate is very interesting because you need to figure out which companies you're looking to bring into particular areas, right? So do you have like more specifics on the type of commercial real estate? You want to talk to me afterwards? I don't know how comfortable you feel. I'm happy to talk about it right now.
No, let's say that we were marketing a depressed area within 60 miles of Manhattan that offered very low commercial real estate opportunities. And we were targeting an audience in Brooklyn who's being priced out because the factory space they have is now being converted to luxury apartments and they have no place to go. What kind of suggestions would you have in terms of reaching that audience through social media?
So you have a couple of different opportunities. You can focus on ease to location, right? Brooklyn might not always be the easiest to get there. So figuring out like you can work with different like hop stop. You can work and create different like heat maps on how you can best get to these locations and have a little bit of fun with that from that perspective. You also have an opportunity to see what's going on around that space. You need to highlight it, right? Because that's an area that you want to make sure that people appreciate. If there's a park there, if there's a community there, if there are great restaurants there. So you want to bring that all together. These are great Pinterest boards. You can create blog posts around this. It's a matter of how you can highlight what's going on around that area. And then also, like, I don't know if you saw, but the iPhone 5S is going to have slow motion video. So you can go in there and create these amazing videos of the actual location, how it's being built up. Give people the opportunity to grow with you while it's being developed.
Thank you so much.
All right, thanks.
We'll save the rest of the questions till the end. Our third and last speaker is Jann Mirchandani. She's the principal and creative engine behind Marketing Café, a marketing firm that specializes in online marketing strategies and implementation. Marketing Café is uniquely positioned as both a marketing firm and a web development firm, and it combines marketing strategy with a solid technical infrastructure. Jann is an award-winning designer specializing in putting online marketing tactics and tools into the hands of small and mid-sized businesses and nonprofits. She has over 20 years of marketing experience. Her industry expertise spans the financial sector, human resources, and executive recruiting and nonprofit. She's a frequent speaker to business groups on leveraging social media and inbound marketing. Today, she's going to go in a different direction from what the other speakers have been discussing, and is going to specifically focus on Google Analytics and how you can incorporate it into your marketing strategy. So come on up, Jann.
Ta-da!
Ta-da! Technology is great when it works.
It is, and here's the clicker.
He's been hiding it. All
Sarah.
right. All right, terrific. Thank you. Well, welcome everybody. Thanks for coming here and out there and wherever you might be. I want to talk a little bit about kind of embracing your inner data geek, using Google Analytics, which you can very much use for your social media, email marketing, as well as your website, because really you want to focus on your website as sort of the foundation for your marketing message. So it is very important to utilize social media to engage your audience and get out there and communicate with your target audience and your potential customers and your existing customers, as well as vendor partners. But the idea is to drive them also to your website so that you can really control the message and share with them your unique position, your unique selling proposition. But you want to be able to track, and getting back to the whole ready, fire, aim concept, you want to fail and you want to fail fast. And what that means is you want to be able to try these different things, try different marketing messages, marketing tactics, and then you want to find out how successful or relatively unsuccessful they were so that you can continue to move it forward. So, okay.
You aimed it at the left.
Oh, was that it? One of my favorite quotes is by John Wanamaker, who is sort of an early pioneer in mass marketing. And he says, half the money I spend on advertising is wasted. The trouble is I don't know which half. So obviously, probably most of us can kind of relate to that. You spend a lot of time and energy trying to get your message out there. Something's working, but you really don't know what the heck it is. So you want to use Google Analytics to take a look at some of those metrics and understand, well, what's working and what's not working. The idea behind looking at those metrics is you want to find out what information is actionable. You know, you're not just looking at the metrics to tell your marketing person, yeah, I'm looking at my Google Analytics, because that's not enough. You want to actually take action based on what information you're looking at. So this is your Foder's Guide to Google Analytics. There's some key terms that you want to focus on, and you want to understand what they mean. The first being your bounce rate. Your bounce rate is when somebody comes to your website and then immediately leaves, that's considered a bounce. Because obviously nobody's going to live on your website. They are going to come, consume your information, and then eventually leave. That's an exit versus a bounce, which is they click, they look and say, well, this isn't what I was looking for, and then immediately leave. The exit page is where they leave from. So I might come to your home page, and I might not. I might come from one of your blog posts. I might come directly to your About page because I found a link to your bio. So what page do they leave from once they get to your website? They come and they click around, and then they eventually leave. A new visitor is somebody who has not been to your website before. Now, this is a little bit of a squishy target, because all that really means is when Google is telling you how many new visitors you have, all they're saying is, I don't recognize this visitor because there's not a cookie set on their device. And a cookie is basically, think Hansel and Gretel, they leave a trail of crumbs. That just means that Google doesn't recognize that machine. So I might have been to your website on my laptop, but now I'm somewhere else and I'm looking on my tablet or my mobile device. They don't recognize me, even though I have been there. So these are guidelines. This is not, a Bible. A new visit Once that cookie is set, I go to lunch, I come back to reading whatever it was that I was reading. It basically gets a time, kind of a time stamp. So a new visit is, I've been to the website before, I've left, and now I've come back. And that's what they're tracking with that. Direct traffic is somebody, maybe you hand your business card to somebody at a networking event, and they type in your URL, and they go directly to your website. There's been no Google search, there's been no Bing search, there's been no social media link or email link that they've clicked on to get to your website. So that's what we're looking at in terms of direct traffic. If you have a question on a term or something, feel free to just shout. So once you understand sort of some of these terms, the key metrics that you really want to pay attention to are your visitors, your traffic sources, your keywords, and your content. And we're going to talk about those. The visitors are how many people are coming to your website, how many visits are you getting over a week or a month. You can take a look. This is just a tip. These are just plain vanilla reports. I have not drilled down in any way, shape, or form. And you can see over on the left-hand side, those are all of the links to get to the various reports. I just clicked on them. I have not done any kind of drilling down. This is just a visitor's overview, and you can see over time the relative ups and downs of traffic. You can see in the report below the number of visitors over this time period. Unique visitors, page views, and the new visitors to returning visitors. So you have to determine for your business, am I really talking to mostly people who have never heard of me? Am I expecting people to come back? Do I have a blog that I want people to come back to and stay in touch with me on my website? And that's where you're going to start to get some information about what's happening on your website and what you need to be doing in order to improve your performance on the website and convert, obviously, to new business, which is what we're trying to do. Traffic sources. This is really important, especially when we're talking about actionable information. Again, we want to go past these reports to say, what direction am I providing my marketing team? What direction am I providing my sales team in terms of working with the content on the website? So when you're looking at your traffic sources, who's sending you new traffic? The number one here is just Google organic search. You get the source and you get the medium. So Google is the source, and just organic is the medium, meaning somebody's done a Google search to find my website. That's number one. Second one is direct, meaning I'm out there, I'm schmoozing, I'm networking in real time, I'm shaking hands, I'm giving people my business card, and they're getting to my website. Feed burner, hopefully you have an RSS feed, you have a blog on your website, you're using social media to encourage people to sign up, getting a lot of traffic that way. So you want to pay attention, and if you're getting, turning it back to your social media, are you getting, if you're spending a lot of time on LinkedIn, are you getting results from that? Are people coming to your website to learn more about you from LinkedIn, from Facebook, from Twitter? And you can pay attention to what's happening, where they're going on your website once they get there. So that's going to be really important, especially as you start to develop and fine-tune your social media strategy. Keyword searches. I always get a lot of feedback on this particular slide. You'll notice that the number one keyword term is not provided. Google does a little bit of bait and switch on this one, and I love Google, so I hate to talk bad about them, but I'm gonna for a little bit. Not provided means that somebody was logged into their Google account when they did a search. And when you're logged into your Google account and you do a search, you immediately get routed to a secure server. So they're basically stripping you of your keyword terms. And like somebody like me, I use Google for my mail, I use it for my calendar. I am always logged into my Google account. So none of the searches that I perform ever show up in any search results, which I don't get it either, I don't know. But once you move down past there, then you can start to see some keyword terms. What are people looking for when they ultimately find your website? This is different than keywords, targeted keywords for SEO strategy. This means this is what people are actually typing in when your website comes up in the search results versus your SEO keywords, which is what people are looking for when they should be finding you. It's not always the same thing, so you want to pay attention to that. But so you can see, well, are people finding you for your business name? They should be, hopefully. Are they looking for you if you do social media marketing and somebody types in, social media counseling Westchester, is your firm coming up? They should be finding you with related keyword terms. And this is going to give you some information. If you're getting like these weird, kind of anomalies in terms of what people are typing in to find you, then that tells you need to start to write about other aspects of your business with very targeted keyword terms so that you start to bubble up when people are doing a search for those terms. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay. And then the content is telling you what are people actually reading on your website. Once they get there, what are the pages that people are taking the time to look at? You should see, hopefully you have, again, going back, you have a blog on your website, your blog articles should be really right up at the top of this, because this is going to be giving information about what your area of expertise is. You want to create engaging content so that people aren't bouncing once they get to your website. You want them to drill down. You want them to click through and read other articles. And this is going to tell you where they're clicking and what articles are relevant. So again, somebody was asking, well, how do I come up with new content for my blog? Well, your audience is telling you what's relevant to them. So you can start to write about those kinds of things. You can drill down, make it, instead of having more generic topics, you can drill down into one particular aspect. And now you've got some really keyword-rich articles on your website that are based on what your audience is telling you is relevant for them. So,
question over here.
sure.
My name is Joe Solon. I have an educational app called Prepster. I created a website, prepster.net. How do I go about finding the Google Analytics for that? Would I go into my web.com construct and look for a web analytics tool, or do I put my
You
site
do
within
have, you're going to
Google?
get, good, that's an excellent question. Google Analytics is completely free. You do not have to pay for it. You do have to have a Google account set up. So if you have Gmail already, you're good to go. You go into Google Analytics, you sign up for a new account, and they're going to give you a little snippet of code that you need to drop into every page on your website. So hopefully you have a website where you have either a footer file. If it's a WordPress, you've got the footer PHP file or whatever snippet that your website is using. And it goes right in that footer, and it will populate on every page on your website. And that's really important, because if you only put it on certain pages, you're only tracking those pages. And that's it. You just drop in that snippet of code. Either you can do it or your web developer can do it. And then that's how they do it. You have a unique ID, and all of those, all of that code is going to be all over your website. And that's how they're tracking from one page to the next.
Then to see the results, would you go into
Then you
Google
go
and
in-
put
then
in your URL?
You log back into Google Analytics, and now all of a sudden you're going to have a dashboard, and that's what we're looking at actually here. As you can see, the Google Analytics, I actually have the top of the web browser window cut off, but this is what you're going to look at. It's going to look exactly like this. And you've got, the Google Analytics, and then you're going to have, log into your particular, if you have multiple websites, you can have, you can be set up as user on multiples, and you can just go into the various URLs and check the traffic for that.
Okay, great. Thank you.
I will add to that, actually, because this might apply for some people. If you have a primary website and you have a blog that are potentially on 2 different platforms or even 2 different servers, you can use that same snippet of code on both of them and track from one to the other, so it will be seamless. Next
Hi.
question.
Didn't introduce myself before. I'm Howard Reese. Just actually started a new company called Healthy Practices, aimed at the healthcare community. And we're just putting up a new website. And my question with regards to content is, if the content is in the form of a PDF, is that going to be tracked through Google Analytics?
Good question. It can be, and we're going to get into that. what you're talking about, well, we are going to get to that, so, and if I don't answer your question specifically, follow up. You can, like I said at the beginning, the first 4 reports that we looked at, plain Jane, vanilla reports, didn't do anything fancy with them, but you can, and this is going to be particularly important for our international audience. If English is not the primary language on your website, or if it is, you can start to drill down based on English. I struggle enough with English as it is. I don't have any foreign language. So I know my audience is going to be, I'm really focusing on my English-speaking audience, and I can drill down. I want to filter out German and French and whatever other languages are out there, because I work primarily in the greater New York area. That's my target audience. So I'm not really focusing on international or across the country. So I want to focus on English speaking within the greater New York area, and you can drill down and do filters by that. And that's that include language, containing EN. I'm filtering out everything but the English-speaking audience. You can drill it down and filter out by city, by state, by geographic area. Again, the idea is you want to focus on actionable information to help you better communicate with your target audience. Who is that audience? And you want to focus on the people who are coming to your website who are going to do business with you. You don't care about the looky-loos. They're on their own. They're just taking information, which is fine. But you want to focus your time and your energy on people who are going to pick up the phone, send you an email, and ultimately hire you to do business with them. So pay attention to the advanced filters, because that's going to help you drill down and find some of this actionable information.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but I also want to go the other way on this. Is if you have an international audience that you're communicating with, couldn't this also be really helpful to determine when and if you translate your website to other languages?
Absolutely, and that's exactly it. You can go both ways with this. You can filter out English speakers. If you know that you've got a niche market and maybe you're focusing in, a specific community, even here in the States or wherever you might be, that is, speaking another language. Maybe they speak French and you're looking for French speakers in, the greater New York area, or you're looking at German speakers in the greater New York area. You can do exactly that. And that's what's great about Google Analytics. It really helps you drill down to a very niche audience.
If they don't ask a question at the microphone, could you repeat?
I will repeat, okay. So again, when you're drilling down to the content, you can start to sort. Where are people, when they come to my website, how are they getting to my website? I said before, a lot of us, when we start to design the website, we assume that they're coming to the home page because it's the home page, and we think of it as the front door to our house. But it doesn't really work that way, especially in this age of social media, where somebody might be sharing a link to your audience. Hopefully they are. So if you write an article about social media marketing, and you share that through your various channels, there's going to be a whole slew of people that are coming to your website on that particular page. And you want to pay attention to your top landing pages. So what you can do is you click through via the content piece of the Google Analytics, and you start to sort it. What are my percentage of new visitors to this landing page? Out of all of my visits to my homepage or my latest article, how many of those people are new visitors? How many are returning visitors? And that's, again, going to give you information about, you can create content specifically to people who might not be familiar with you, and you can start to pay attention to, am I getting traction with that content? So you can really start to drill down and look at it in a variety of different ways. You can also, I don't have an example of it, but you can look at pie charts for those of you who are more visual learners. You can do bar charts, and you can start to look at the relative performance of one page against another on your website. So again, we talked a lot about strategy. And this is where we get into the question about, PDFs, and I have this content that I know, I'm creating specifically for my target audience. I have a good handle on who I'm talking to, but what's a conversion? What does success look like for you on your website? You want to make sure that you have a really clear idea of where you're going. You know, if it's e-commerce, it's easy. You know, the more sales I make, the more successful I am. If my sales go down, I know something's going on and I need to adjust. But for those of us who are, you know, B2B or, you know, even nonprofits, it's not always so easy because it's not necessarily going to be linked directly to a dollar value. So you have to think about, well, my goal is to increase brand awareness. I want to let people know who I am. Or I want to establish credibility. You know what, I'm new in my field, or I'm changing careers, or, you know, I've got a new business. I really need to let people know I know what the heck I'm talking about. So those might be your kind of higher level goals of what you're trying to accomplish with your website. The next step, once you understand what you're trying to do, is defining success. You know, again, e-commerce, easy, it's dollar sales. But for somebody like the gentleman was just asking the question, maybe your conversion is, I want people to download this PDF. And that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to funnel everybody who comes to my website to get to this PDF page and then actually download it. I have a client who really for him success is, I just want people to, I have this great free trial. Once I get people in the free trial, it's, you know, we're good to go. That for him is success. He wants the sign-ups, and so that's what we're going to be tracking for him. So once you define conversion, and then you're starting to set up goals, and you can go in, again, we're drilling down. This is all still within the Google Analytics dashboard. You're going to click on admin, go into your profiles, and set up a goal. And you're going to create a name. And there's 4 different types of goals. There's a URL destination, a visit duration, page per visit, and events. And I will tell you honestly, the 2 that I really pay attention to are the URL destination and event. The other 2, you know, might be relevant for you if you're really trying to get people to consume a lot of content. You've got long articles, but for me, you know, it's you know, debatable how much value is in that. So the URL destination is you want people to sign up for a free trial. So wherever they come in from, we're trying to get them to the free trial page. They put in their name and their email and then sign up, and once they click submit, they go to a thank you page. That is a successful conversion. Getting to that destination URL, the thank you page, that's how we're defining our goal here. That's how we're defining success. For the event, it's the same thing. Once they get to that page with a PDF, did they actually download it? That's what we want to measure. Because you may find that, you know what, you get 100 visitors to that page, but only 10 people are actually downloading the PDF. Clearly there's a disconnect and something needs to happen, and that's where the metrics really shine, because you can start to drill down to that information. That's actionable. You know what, maybe the link isn't working properly. So people are landing on the page, but nobody's downloading it. That's giving you some really important information. Rate for your shopping cart. A lot of people are adding stuff to their shopping cart, but not buying a lot. Maybe there's a problem with the checkout process. Maybe you need to add multiple pages within that process so that you can really start to understand, oh, well, you know what? People are having trouble going from the shipping information to the billing information, and there's a problem with that. And that's where you're going to find out this information. So now here, the relative performance. Again, this is what I was referring to earlier, where you can take a look and see, well, you know what? I've got one page that's really outperforming. I'm getting a lot more conversions from that particular page. I'm getting a lot of people who are visiting that page versus any other page on my website. And what page is that? Well, it happens to be a LinkedIn referral. So you can start to pair up what you are doing to try and move your business forward with what your results are, what's actually helping you. So you can start to focus on what's working and spend less time on the stuff that's not working. For you old school folks, and I actually consider myself one of them, Google Analytics is not just for those of us who live in the geek world. If you do traditional marketing, you can certainly still use Google Analytics. If you're sending out a postcard, if you're doing ads in local papers, you can create a custom URL and create a queries, what's called a query string, so that you can track. I'm sending out postcards through the WCC. I'm sending out postcards through the Business Council. And you have a different URL for each, and you can see, well, you know what? I'm getting a lot of traction with one campaign versus another campaign. So you can even pair the metrics for your website with what you're doing offline. Again, so you're spending your money wisely. You want to find out which half of your marketing budget is working and which half isn't, and you can do that even with your traditional marketing. So this is really just the surface. I know we were short on time, so I'm happy to answer any questions, any problems anybody's had, or specific implementation issues. Okay.
Jann, thanks so much. Well, it was great. I saw people here in the audience taking notes feverishly, and that's what this is all about. So to our speakers, all of them, thank you so much. I think this kind of represents what this company is all about, delivering high quality information, education, business resources that everybody needs to do what we need to do the most efficiently, cost effective, and best way possible. So thank you all for coming. To our web audience, thank you for tuning in. We appreciate it. Thank you all, and have a productive day, and we'll see you in November. Thanks very much.